Hi guys, my name's Shauna Muldrew. I'm the owner of Infinity Nutrition and Health Coaching. I am here at the Princess Auto home office gym today. I'm super excited to be here. The reason why I'm here is I'm going to be taking you some strength training fundamentals today. So benefits of strength training, and I'm going to actually start the warm up and keep talking with you guys. So if you're joining me for this class, I just want you to do some butt kicks side to side and I'll carry on. So we got to get nice and warm so we loosen up those muscles and make sure that we're reducing any risk of injury. Benefits of strength training today. So we want to be incorporating strength training into our weekly routines of exercise to help strengthen our muscles, of course. It can help improve the quality of your life, improve bone density, reduce pain and discomfort. The list goes on. There's so many benefits to strength training. So I'm going to be taking you through some key exercises today to make sure you can incorporate that into your life. All right, so we're going to move on to jumping jacks now. So this is the low impact version and this is the high impact version. So take which option works best for you. Now, for the sake of talking, I'm going to stick with the low impact version. And speaking of modifications, so that's one thing that we're going to be covering today. One of the key fundamentals of strength training is safety. So form and technique, I'm going to go through with a fine-tooth comb with you guys. And the other thing in terms of a fundamental is progressive overloading. So when your body adapts to this, it's time to move on to the harder version. So part of really effective strength training is making sure you know how to challenge yourself. Okay, we're gonna move on. Next part in the warm-up is an inchworm. So side profile here, you're gonna be tipping from the hip and walking yourself out into a high plank. Okay, nice straight body, keeping yourself folded at the hips, squeezing the glutes at the top. Again, down, walk, walk, walk. Nice straight back, pinch your shoulder blades here, and then tipping back at the top. Couple more. Good. Last one. Looks good. All right, so your heart's probably pumping a little bit. And we're gonna do one more thing for the warm-up before we get into the full workout today, which is lunges. So stationary lunge is a basic way to start. I'm gonna show you my side profile. So when we're getting into a stationary lunge, we wanna take a big step forward. Your back foot, your heel should be lifted off the ground. And there should be about hip width distance in between your feet. And that's important for balance. So you're gonna lead with your back knee, creating a 90-degree angle with both of your legs here, okay? So if you can see that here, 90-degree angle, and then come back up. So down, up. Let's do 6 of them. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Okay, and we're gonna do the other side. So you'll notice too how my upper body is nice and upright. You don't want to be hunched over like this, which can be quite common. So picture yourself going down in an elevator, like so. 4, 3, 2, 1. Good. Okay, one last thing, a few arm circles backwards. Let's not forget about that upper body, and we're gonna get into the workout. All right, guys, we're on to exercise number 1, which is a squat. So a squat is working your lower body. It is one of the best lower body exercises we can do, and you don't actually need any weight to do it and even make it challenging. So I'm gonna take you through a couple of variations. First and foremost, the body weight squat. So you wanna start with a stance that is maybe slightly wider than shoulder width apart, okay? And your arms can stay out in front. You wanna be pushing your hips back. I'll show you side profile as well. So you wanna push your hips back, bend those knees, keep your back nice and straight, and lower yourself down to the ground. Your knees should be in line with your toes here, so watch they're not flared too far out or caving in, okay? And you wanna try to get the full range of motion. Watch my side profile now. By coming down, okay, thighs are about parallel with the ground here, and then you're coming up, squeeze the glutes at the top. Okay, so when you put it all together, push those hips back, back flat, squeeze the glutes at the top, thighs parallel to the ground, and that is your body weight squat. So once you master this body weight squat, and we'll do 10 of these and I'll continue to talk. So 10, 9. So once you master these body weight squats, you can start to add the challenge, right? Your body will adapt pretty quickly to these. So that's when you can start to add weights or more repetitions, or even a plyometric option like a jump squat, which we will cover in just a second. All right, so goblet squat would be a really good variation to add when you've mastered that body weight squat, and that's just simply holding a weight in your hand for that added challenge. All the other parts of the form in terms of the squat are exactly the same. So if we do 10, 9, you can see that my elbows are getting down to my thighs for that full range of motion. I'm keeping my back nice and flat. Another key thing, and this goes for most exercises, guys, is to keep your core braced. So keeping your core engaged, that helps stabilize your entire core, protect your lower back as well, which is very important. Good. So last thing with the squat is, if you want to take it to another level, is to add maybe a jump squat, so a plyometric option. This gets a little bit tougher, so watch as I demonstrate. So same form, okay, but now we're gonna be jumping up in the air and absorbing the landing of the squat very smoothly. You don't wanna jar your knee joints because that could not be good for those joints there. So nice soft landing as you come down, sinking right back into the next squat. Watch as I demonstrate, and you can get your arms going for momentum if you choose. Down, up, down, up, down, up. Okay. So these get hard real fast. So you have 3 different versions of the squat: body weight squat, goblet squat, and jump squat. So start with the option that works best for you and make sure you're progressing accordingly. All right, guys, so exercise number 2 is a glute bridge or hip thruster. Those 2 names can be used interchangeably. This exercise is going to be working your glute muscles, which are your biggest muscles in your whole body. So it's really important to have strong muscles that support your core and help with your day-to-day activity as well. So watch as I demonstrate. You're going to want to, and you can grab a mat if that's more comfortable. You're going to want to take a seat on the ground, bend your knees, and your feet are going to be flat on the ground, and you're just going to lay back like so. So you want to bring your heels towards your body just a little bit, and you maybe want to pinch your shoulder blades together so you can lift yourself off the ground a little bit higher. This is your starting position. From here, you're just going to lift your hips and squeeze, squeeze, squeeze those glute muscles. It's really important to consciously activate the muscles that you're working in order to get the best results possible. So you're going to squeeze and come down. That's it. So that's 1 repetition. So this is 2, squeeze, and if this feels too easy for you, see what I'm doing here is I'm actually holding it at the top in an isometric contraction, which means I'm not actually moving, but my muscles are super fired up, and then I'll release, okay? So option 1, it'd be a standard repetition. If you want to take it further, you can hold it at the top for a few seconds, okay? So let's do 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and hold this one at the top here. Hold it, hold it, hold it, at least 5 seconds. 4, 3, feel those muscles on fire, and 1. Good. Okay. I'm going to show you another quick progression if you wanted to take it a step further, which is a single leg glute bridge, okay? So if this now feels pretty easy for you, you want a new challenge, you're going to start in the same position, maybe center one foot slightly more center to your body because you're going to be extending one leg so all of your weight is planted on one foot. And now you're coming down and coming up, and that's going to concentrate on one side of your glutes, and really you're gonna feel the burn with this one a little bit more than that standard glute bridge, okay? So up and down, up and down. Okay, switching sides, up and down, up and down. And when you're completing these exercises, okay, so doing 3 sets of each exercise is pretty standard, maybe 4 if you're feeling up to it. And, completing anywhere from 10 to 12, 10 to 15 repetitions, depending on the weights that you're using, can be a really good starting point as well. And then weights to be determined based on, your starting strength levels. So just again, make sure that you're challenging yourself and adding weights when you can. All right, guys, exercise number 3, we actually warmed up with this, so we're gonna be doing lunges. And like a lot of the exercises we're covering today, there are a ton of variations that you can do. So we're gonna start not a stationary lunge like we did in the warm-up, but we're gonna be doing a forward lunge. Okay, so from my side profile, watch as I demonstrate. You're gonna take a step that's far enough so you have enough space to be able to lower your back knee down to the ground and create that 90-degree angle. Sometimes people don't step far enough and you end up getting a little bit scrunched here and you can't maintain that good form and those proper 90-degree angles. So make sure that that step is nice and big. And again, width-wise, it's about hip width apart. You're coming down, nice straight upper body, hands in front for balance. Push yourself back off and alternate sides. So let's do 8 repetitions per side. 1. For the full range of motion, you want to try to get that back knee as close to the ground as possible. If you can't quite get there yet, that's okay, but that's something to work towards. Okay? So we got a few more to go. Feeling the burn here. 3, 2, and 1. Perfect. Okay, now if we want to add on to a lunge, we can add weight on either side. So that's something that if you have a set of dumbbells or a kettlebell or anything like that at home, you can definitely do. And then the third progression would be, just like that jump squat, we can add that explosive power and that intensity by adding the jump to our lunges. So watch as I demonstrate. So option 1, you're gonna jump into the lunge, meet your feet in the middle, and alternate sides. This would be progression number 1, like so. Okay, and once you got that mastered, then it's into the full jump, down, switch, switch, full range of motion, just like that. Whew, that burns. All right, guys, on to exercise number 4. So this is a upper body and core exercise. It can be a little bit dreaded, but I promise you, there's ways to do this to really master this exercise, and it is the push-up. Okay, so a lot of people are like, I can't do push-ups. I can't do them from my toes. I'm not strong enough. But you don't have to be able to do them from your toes, okay? There's a lot of ways to build up to that if you choose. So the first thing I'm gonna demonstrate are 2 modifications. So the first one, you're gonna start from your knees, and then you're gonna have an elevated surface like a bench. If you're at home, you could do this right from the couch even. So from your knees, you're gonna take about a little bit wider than a shoulder width distance, placing your hands on the edge of your surface. Okay, from here, you can see my butt sticking out a little bit. I wanna lower that so that from my knees to my shoulder joints, it's nice and straight. Okay, and from here, I wanna bend my elbows, lowering myself down to the ground so my chest is tapping the edge of the bench. And notice my elbows. They are 45 degrees pointed backwards. They're not flared out like this, and we're not doing a military tricep push-up here. So it's right in between that. Again, 45 degrees back, and then you're pushing back up. So down and up, down and up. If this still seems hard with the height that you're using, you could try something that's a little bit higher. So maybe a chair, okay? So we're gonna do 10 of these. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. And you'll probably feel it across here, so shoulders and chest primarily. There's a lot of muscles involved in this exercise, core, and some other upper body muscles as well. So it's a really good exercise. Now, once you've mastered the modification from your knees and the bench, then you can try to come from your toes on an elevated surface. So you're removing one of the modifications, but you still have that elevation to help you. All right, so exact same positioning, and then you're gonna lower yourself down to the bench and then come back up. Down and up. And again, with repetitions, you can do 8, 10, maybe 12, build up to 15. Once you've hit 12 to 15 repetitions and you're doing 3 sets of those no problem, that's a sign that you need to take that progression and make it a little bit harder, okay? So from knees to the incline to just the incline with the toes, then we can hit the mat and do it from the ground. So if I was to show you from the front profile here. I'll start from my knees, exact same position, so proper hand placements. One other thing I didn't mention before that you want to pay attention to is that your joints are stacked. So wrists, elbows, shoulders on top of each other. Okay, so pay attention to that. So you lower yourself down to the mat, elbows are pointed 45 degrees, body's nice and straight, lowering all the way down, all the way up, okay? And then finally, you can work towards those toes push-ups if you want to. If you don't want to, that's okay, stay on an incline. But just make sure that you're challenging yourself. And this is the full push-up. All right, good stuff. All right, guys, exercise number 5. We're gonna hit some back muscles. Now, working your back muscles can be challenging to do without weights, but I'm gonna show you one exercise that's super effective and you do not need any equipment. So this is called a Superman row. What you're gonna do is you lower yourself down onto your stomach from a mat, and you're gonna extend your arms overhead so they're nice and outstretched like so. You keep your neck neutral so you just face the ground. And what you're gonna do is you're going to try to lift your arms and your legs up off the ground using your core muscles. So low back, glutes, and your midsection are all gonna help you be able to do this. So it looks like this, up like so. You'll probably feel this in your lower back, maybe your glutes, maybe your shoulders, and then we're adding on to this. So this is a Superman, and this is a row. So you're going to drive those elbows back here, squeezing your shoulder blades together to fire up those back muscles. Then you're gonna stretch out those arms overhead and relax. So when you put it all together, it looks like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, that's a Superman row. And doing about 10 to 12 repetitions is a great starting point. All right, guys, exercise number 6, we're gonna be doing a plank. So the plank is gonna really engage those tummy muscles as well as some other muscles as well. It's a great core body weight exercise that you can do from anywhere, so let's get started. Now, just like the push-up, if you are like, I can't really hold it from my toes, maybe for a couple of seconds and then I'm done and it's discouraging, I'm gonna show you a modification that you can actually do to overcome that. And just like the push-up, you're starting from your knees. It can still be very engaging on your core to be able to do it from this way. So from your knees, you're gonna drop down to your forearms, and then you're gonna lower your hips so that it looks like this. You're going to squeeze your glute muscles, pinch your shoulder blades together to make sure that from your shoulders to your knee joints is very, very straight. And you're just gonna hold this. This is an isometric hold, and eventually you'll start to really feel it in your core. If you start to shake, that's okay. Starting with maybe 30 seconds and building from there is a really good goal. And once you've got this mastered, it's time to move to your toes. So from the toes, your stance is about hip width distance apart, just like your forearms, okay? And then you're just holding this as well. What you wanna make sure you're not doing, especially when it gets difficult, is allowing your hips to sag like this. That's really tough on your low back. And also, if you're sticking that butt up too high, you're cheating a little bit. So just make sure you maintain that good form. You'll maximize the exercise this way and get the best results possible. Okay, guys, we're on to exercise number 7. We have just 2 more left. You're doing awesome. This next one, another upper body exercise, and it is the tricep dips. Okay, so tricep dips, you want to be doing from some sort of an elevated surface. It could be a couch if you're at home. I'll use the bench here for this demonstration. What you're going to want to do, and you can actually just start by sitting down on the bench just to make sure you're comfortable and feel stable. You're going to take your hands and put them on either side of your hips here, right on the edge of the surface. Then from here, I'm going to show you 2 variations today. You're going to step forward so your hips leave the bench, okay, and you're creating about a 90-degree angle with your legs here. You're going to keep your feet planted, and your hips are still pretty close to the bench, but just hanging off like so. From here, you're going to bend your elbows down, hips lower towards the ground, creating about a 90-degree angle with your arms. Your upper arms are parallel with the ground. That's the goal here. And then you're pushing back up and extending those arms at the top. So down and up, down, and up, doing about 10, 12, maybe even 15 repetitions. Now, once you have this mastered, then you're going to take the next variation, which is a little bit more difficult. So this is where same starting position, but instead of keeping those feet flat on the ground, you're actually going to extend your legs, okay? And what that does is it shifts some of the weight more into your arms, so it makes it harder. So from here, exact same thing, down and up, down and up. Awesome. And that is a tricep dip. All right, guys, we're on to the final exercise, exercise number 8. We're gonna finish with some core work. So this exercise is called a leg raise. What you're gonna do is lower yourself down onto a soft surface like a mat, and you're gonna lay all the way back. We're not taking a nap yet. We're not quite done, so don't fall asleep on me. So what you want to do is, and if some people like to actually tuck their hands underneath their hips just for some low back support and to feel a little bit stable, so feel free to do that. I like to hold on to the edge of my mat personally. Now what you're going to do, folding at the hip, you're going to be coming up with those legs and then back down. And you want to hover just above the ground so you're not coming down to rest each time. Okay, so again, down and lower, down and lower. And that's really going to engage the core muscles, particularly the lower abdominal region. So that's a great exercise to finish with. Now, if you want a little bit more, you can actually take it to the next level. You're going to come up at the leg raise, and then you're going to add a crunch. Lift the hips right off, engage the upper abdominals, crunch up towards the ceiling, and then with control, lower yourself back down. Up and down. Up and down. Trying to do, again, 10 to 15 reps is a great place to start. All right, guys, so that concludes our strength training fundamentals with 8 amazing exercises you can do just about anywhere to build that strength and really start to notice those amazing benefits that come with that. One thing you'll notice is I didn't do 3 sets of 10 to 15 repetitions throughout the class for time's sake, but what I would highly encourage when you're doing this routine is to pick even 5 or 6 exercises to start and do all 3 sets with that amount of repetitions when you're doing this on your own. That would make up a really well-balanced workout routine that would probably take you about 30, 40 minutes to do, which isn't too bad. So I hope you enjoyed this, this workout today, and I hope you learned some new things in terms of strength training, the fundamentals and the benefits. Again, my name is Shauna with Infinity Nutrition and Health Coaching. You can find me online at Winnipeg Health Coaching, winnipeghealthcoaching.com. Thank you so much.